Hello and welcome to your full moon forecast for the Scorpio full moon in April 2021. So if you are tuning in for the first time, welcome. This tarot reading is going to be for the Scorpio full moon, but it is also timeless, and I believe in synchronicity. So if you found this video outside of that timeline, there's something here for you. So how these readings work is there are two versions of this card reading. The first is for YouTube and Instagram, and it is 4 oracle cards that's available for the public for free. The second is the extended reading that goes on beyond the oracle cards into about 10 to 12 other cards for a full spread on the energy of the Scorpio full moon. So you'll find that if the first 4 cards resonate for you, you might want to check out the last part of the reading as well, which is available over at patreon.com/Michelle Shea, and you can join the $22 full-time fortune teller level to have access to these readings every month for the new and full moon, as well as the weekly tarot card readings, the audio downloads that I have, and the rituals that are posted every month as well. So we'll start with the Total Betty Goddess deck, card deck of my creation. Goddess is represented by icons from the 90s, and this will give us just a general idea of the overarching energy of this Scorpio new moon. So our goddess of the moment is Hera, played by Jennifer Aniston as Rachel Green in Friends. Hera is a card of focusing on yourself. It's a calling to not get jealous or envious of those around you, and instead allow yourself to just revel in your own beauty, your own accomplishments, and let everything else be. The idea that you are attracting circumstances or people in your life that are calling out some sort of jealousy from within you is usually a sign that that's something that you want. So rather than seeing it as things that you lack, think of it as things that you can now put on your to-do list to accomplish. So if you are feeling envious of something that you see online or someone who's in your life, those qualities that you're envying are completely achievable for you. You just have to pinpoint what it is that you're admiring within them so you can start to develop those qualities within yourself. So that is what Goddess Hera is reminding us. It's a reminder to not be jealous, but instead use that jealousy in a productive manner and embrace the qualities that we want to see more of in the world. So with that in mind, we'll move on to our 3 oracle cards, little past, present, future for this Scorpio moon. We are going to be working with the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal deck for our 3 oracle cards. And when we move on into the tarot cards, we will be working with the Wild Unknown Tarot there. So we will have a little matching energy between the decks. So Scorpio is known for being a sign of transformation, and it's so fitting during a full moon because full moons are about releasing the things that aren't serving you any longer so that you can further call in more manifestations as the cycle continues. So with that in mind and our goddess Hera, there's probably a lot of releasing of the way that we perceive others versus ourselves during this moon. So first up in our oracle card spread, we have the horse. So the horse card is coming in our past position, and it's representing the energy that we're just coming from as we enter into this full moon. And it's not a bad energy to be coming from, because the horse card is definitely about being stable, being structured, having sort of daily rituals in place, and training for our bodies, our minds, our souls, in order to be able to encounter what the world has to offer us with stability and grounded energy. So the horse card indicates that hopefully we've spent the past several months or weeks establishing a routine that makes us feel really strong and really stable. So maybe you've started working out a little bit more, maybe you've started meditating more often, maybe you've just started really nourishing yourself with really healthy foods. And if you haven't been doing those things, no worries, there's still time, because as we move from this horse stability energy, we're coming into a very similar energy in the present with the elk. So the elk energy is the result of that stable groundedness, that routine, and that ability to really focus on the day-to-day and the minutia of life in order to establish something that feels strong and stable. The elk energy is really owning your own power. So what this is telling us essentially is that the more that you can establish a healthy, strong, and stable routine, even if it feels like it's kind of meaningless, the more you will be able to encounter life's obstacles with strength, stability, and power. And it feels so boring to focus on that minutia. I just had a client reading that talked about this recently, where you are feeling like you're just focusing on the tiny things so often, and it can kind of get a little monotonous to be like, oh, this is my daily routine and I'm doing it every day. But all of that adds up. It all builds up into this feeling of strength and stability. So if you are working out every day, maybe on the day-to-day it doesn't feel like you're doing much. It can feel like, I don't want to do another workout, but over time you start to build strength and you start to see results. The same thing happens with a meditation practice. The first couple times you sit down to meditate, it can feel really tedious and really boring sometimes. But over time you start to see results and it becomes easier, and you build that muscle of your meditation practice so that you can slip into this state of peace more often. And that really serves us whenever we're going out into life, because then when you are in day-to-day scenarios that might feel stressful, you may not have to sit down somewhere and om or listen to music and meditate. You can call in that meditative feeling in the moment and be able to deal a little more calmly with what's going on in front of you. It's all about the day-to-day strengthening the overall effect. Same thing with diet and nutrition. The more that you are eating healthy, you may not see results right away, but you'll start to feel them in your body as you start to incorporate more greens or drink more water, or just shift your diet away from sort of processed foods and meat-based to more fresh produce. This is definitely what we've been called to focus on over the past several weeks. So if you haven't been doing that, that's okay. Just know that putting that into practice now is going to help with your strength and stability as you move into what life has in store for you. And it feels like it's something big. We're being called to own our power in a certain situation and really stand up for ourselves and be who we're really meant to be with this elk energy. Then we're gonna move into post full moon, the frog energy. So the frog energy is a nice contrast to the earth energy of the horse and the elk, because the frog exists both on land and in water, but it's really at home in the water element. So the frog is really a reminder that even when you're really entrenched in your earthly world and in your day-to-day minutia, it's still important to have time for yourself, to take time to cleanse and release the energy that you've picked up on throughout the day. So this feels like it's kind of a nice little progression of having our day-to-day routines kind of upset and then reestablished while we're in quarantine or switching up our lives for whatever it meant for 2020. And then now we're moving into this reintegration period where it doesn't quite look like what we're used to, but the day-to-day routine that we've established while we are at home is either supporting or hindering our ability to re-enter into society. So this is a perfect full moon to kind of tweak the things that aren't working for you when it comes to what you do in your day-to-day life, especially your morning routines and how you set yourself up for the day. Meanwhile, we still need to remember as we go into the future that it's a lot to go back into society. And sometimes we need to take that break and cleanse off other people's energy and reset and come back into our own. So while we're focusing on the elk energy right now of really owning our power and being in our fully embodied self, I really want to make sure that we're still looking at this future card, because it's coming right around the corner where we're gonna need to make sure we're taking care of ourselves again. So it's going to sneak up on you. The idea that you need to reset and have some time for yourself will come a lot quicker as we reintegrate into our whatever the world looks like now. It's going to be something that catches you a little off guard, because after this time to ourselves, we have established a deeper connection to what we need. And that's a good thing. But when you establish a deeper connection to what you need, same thing when you start to eat healthy, when you start exercise, doing the things that weren't healthy for you that you might have done all the time before suddenly don't feel as good. You notice that you feel off a lot sooner. And that's the same thing when it comes to energy. So if you've been spending a lot of time in isolation alone and really establishing your own self-care and what you need during the past year, year and a half, as you start to move back out into the world, you have to be gentle with yourself. You have to realize that you're not going to be able to go as hard into your social life as you might have before, because you've now grown accustomed to the fact that you have needs to take care of for yourself. So don't see it as like a hindrance or a problem. Don't think that just because you need to take a breather after a couple of days of socializing that you've somehow like lost your stamina. It's not that you've lost your stamina, you've just become more aware of your needs of when you need to take a break. The frog energy indicates that water is really important for our cleansing, so showers, baths, hydrating, just drinking water is going to be really good to help you to stay within your own energy versus other people's energy. I get the feeling that a lot of us have become a lot more empathic over the past year, year and a half, and that's again gonna catch us off guard when we start to interact with people in person, because we're maybe not used to cleansing or blocking off someone else's energy. So as I practice empath, I can tell you that putting into practice sort of a mental ritual to establish a protection when you go into interactions, especially with people you know that might be exhausting, but even people that you don't think are going to be exhausting, kind of say to yourself, like, I'm going to stay in my own energy and I'm going to let go of any energy that I pick up on while I'm with these people so that I can return to myself more quickly. And if that doesn't work, again, the frog element says that water is going to be really helpful in getting that reset to happen. So whenever you start to find that you're picking up on the energy around you, if you're feeling a little drained after an interaction, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling any intense emotions that you're not quite sure where they came from, integrate a little bit of that cleansing practice. Shower it off, drink some water, drink a big glass of water down and just say that you're kind of returning into your own energy. And always, meditation is a really great way to return to your own energy as well. So find what works for you. I have a friend that says that hot water always sets him right, whether it be a hot shower or a cup of hot tea. So if you want to integrate those practices, that's always helpful as well. And that's what we're looking at. But essentially, we're in a good place because we established good self-care and good routines. And if you didn't, again, this is just a calling out, a little reminder that that's going to help you with finding your power in your social circumstances so that you don't have to cleanse quite as much energy. So the more that you are established in your routines and you're feeling healthy and you're feeling good within your body, the more you can stand in your power and then also not have to cleanse off quite as much at the end of the day. So all of these things work together. If this feels like it resonates for you and you want to know more about protecting your energy or about what's to come as you reintegrate into society, we're going to move forward with our tarot cards at the Patreon. And if you're on the Patreon already, the rest of your reading starts right now.